So today is the 30th of May, and it's quite a significant date because it's the end of the promotional period that Steinberg have had for the 30th anniversary of Cubase. So I thought I wanted to do something really just as a tribute to Cubase. I've used Cubase for so many years, and it was very instrumental in terms of my early days in the 90s in terms of music production. And so I was using Cubase on an Atari 1040 ST, and I think it was version 3. It's a long time ago. And Cubase enabled me to grow as a producer. And I found it a very, very intuitive environment to be able to do what I wanted to do. And when I come back to Cubase, what happens is I always seem to come back to the same kind of vibe. And there's that real kind of traditional 90s house thing. And so what I'm going to take you through here is in Cubase Pro 10, a remix that I've done of an Aaliyah classic, and rest in peace. She was just a staggering artist with tons of potential, and it's absolutely tragic that she died young. But I've always been a fan of the song "Rock the Boat," and I wanted to do something a bit different with it. So you can see there's a vocal track here, which is the a cappella, and then I've built some music around this. Okay, so it's using a whole bunch of Steinberg instruments, and let me just bring some of these up so you can see what's going on. Quick tour, the piano is coming from the Halion Sonic SC, the pad, Halion Sonic SE. Bassline is from Reactor, hats are Halion Sonic SE again, splash, Halion Sonic SE, beats are Groove Agent, and then we've got some additional beats here. So this is very much using stock instruments within Cubase, okay, with the exception of the bass, but there's a very particular character that I like on that particular ensemble in Reactor. So let's take a look. Let's go to the beginning. Let's have a listen to the beats. What I'm going to do is take you inside some of the programming. And let's bring up the Groove Agent. So you can see this is a kit called the Techno Kit 02. Not being used for techno. And there is another beat here. Another kit. And you can hear that bass line now. And this changes. You can see my color-coded scheme that I've got here, just to indicate that something different is happening. And that really helps when you're arranging. So I've got two sections here. So we're going to let the vocal come in. Just going to come back and indicate a couple of things. There are some wind chimes which are working as transitional sections. And it's funny, I always come back to this sample. There was a student of mine at Point Blank called Nev, and he asked me for some wind chimes. And so somehow the collection of wind chimes that I organised for him have just stayed with that file name. So if you're listening, Nev, big shout out to you. Hope you're doing well. And the other thing that's happening is you can see with the hats, we've got basically sections without the open hi-hat and then the open hi-hat coming in. So it allows a bit of movement, and this is occurring within the 8-bar section. So have a listen again. And we're coming up to the first set of piano. And here's where it switches up. So a new element here for the second verse, this is a pad. And let me just backtrack so you can see what's going on here. So the patch that I used for the piano, that was the 80s piano layer. And what I'll do is I'll solo that so you can hear it. That's a really nice patch. One of the great things about Cubase is the library of instruments that you get inside Aaliyah Sonic SE. Let me show you whilst that's playing, the bass line in there. And the reactor ensemble I'm using is this one here. This was a free download. There's a patch there called Future B, which is really nice. And let's hear that pad. Pad, once again, Aaliyah Sonic SE. This is a patch called Glimmer Lake. Let's bring the vocal in. And let's take all the solos off, bring everything back. You can see now this is being underpinned by some sustained strings. The strings come back here. Slightly different melody. So let's come back, let's see these high strings. I'm going to solo these. Piano, pad. A little breakdown section here. Nothing too dramatic. So what I'm going to do is just flip down to the mix console here and show you. There are no more musical instruments, no more elements. It's really just leading up for a DJ outro. And what I wanted to do is just show you some of the things that I've got going on here on the actual stereo output. So this is my master settings for this particular track. And let's just go through these one by one. So the first thing actually what I want to do is just bypass all of these. And now I'm going to turn them on. So we're averaging just under minus 10 dBs, peaking. It's a max peak of 0. Okay. So just over here, what we've got is a multi-band compressor. And I'm using this to just bind the elements together. Because of the fact that I've got an a full a cappella on top of a backing that I put together, I just wanted to find a way to get this kind of, not quite gluing as a stereo, but two disparate elements from different people, because it was different mix engineer working on the original vocal and then also my backing. It felt that this was really helping. So this is the multi-band compressor that's within Cubase. Then I wanted to do some overall bus compressing, and this is the vintage compressor. Just a couple of dBs reduction, which is a bit less than what we've got going on here. In some cases it's minus 4 dB. Come back a bit. So the other things going on, let me show you. Studio EQ, dipping 1K, felt a little bit too much for me, and just lifting up a little bit at 77 Hertz. To warm up the bass. Then I've got the Magneto plugin, so this is the tape saturation, as if it's going on to reel tape. with a little bit of saturation there. Something that's not Cubase, which is the BX console from Brainworks. This is the SSLG series emulation. I've got this running on every single channel because I wanted to get that old kind of console vibe. And now I've got Cubase's maximizer here, just at the end. You know, I did say the output was 0, so I'm going to just bring this down a bit actually. A little bit more conservative on that, so just say about minus 0.3. So that's just giving me my DIY master using a majority of inbuilt effects. And this structure was built up. It was, you know, built up in the way that I used to do stuff, which is, you know, just to build a MIDI part, play stuff in. You know, it's all played in, and you know, just duplicated all over the place, and structured that way. So very much that old school vibe. You know, this really does feel to me like the kind of stuff that I used to do on Cubase back in the day. And you know, it's a lot more complex. There's a hell of a lot more in the software now. It's incredibly powerful. It's way beyond what it used to be, because it used to be just MIDI. And you know, I just want to take time to say a massive thank you to Steinberg, especially for the support that you guys have given me in this channel over the years. You know, I really can't make as many videos as I used to, so I haven't been able to feature it as much as I would have liked to, but I still use it. It's a fantastic platform. And yeah, all the best to Steinberg, and here's to another 30 years of Cubase.